here in mid-Missouri. Joining me on the far end is Hadlee Swope, the product manager for MorSoy, and next to me is Cameron Horine, the director of seed division. Guys, thanks for joining me today. And before we get into this training video more in depth, tell me, how's the growing season been this year across mid-Missouri and the MFA territory?
It's been a lot better than it was last year. It's been nice not being in a drought like we were last year across most of our trade territory. So most areas have gotten plenty of rain and the weather's been cooperative. So that's been a positive thing.
So good moisture overall. That's great.
Absolutely.
How far advanced is some of the crop?
I mean, for the most of our trade territory, for corn-wise, we're pretty much done tasseling from that standpoint. So we're past fungicide applications. We're moving along. Soybeans, almost everything. You know, first crop, I would say actually first crop is pretty spread out from a lot of our soybeans. There was a lot that was planted early because we were dry. Then we started getting wet, getting moisture, which is obviously a good thing for us. But we had some delayed planting. Stuff's starting to catch up. There's a lot, most of everything's flowering from that standpoint, but soybeans are moving along.
It's always nice to hear that the crop looks better than it did last year and things are moving along well. But I know Today we're talking not about this year's crop, but we are talking about the future, what MFA is working on right here in their plots. Cameron, tell me about right variety, right acre for seed and what that means for MFA.
Yeah, so right variety, right acre, I mean, really what that means for us is trying to make sure that we're putting the best variety that we can on the producer so that they have the best opportunity to have yield at the end of the year, right? And so every producer is different. You know what their growing conditions are, what their soil types are. We may have a producer that's in the river bottoms on heavy gumbo ground. That's going to be completely different than where we're at today, where we have a clay pan, right? And we have topsoil of 6 inches maybe. And so finding the right balance of what they need from agronomic, but also still trying to give them a yield potential from variety for that standpoint.
So I know those of you that are watching this video right now can see we're standing in front of a soybean test plot. Hadlee, let's talk a little bit about it. How is MFA selecting the right soybean varieties for their customers to test right here in this plot?
Yeah, absolutely. So just like Kara said, behind us, we do have a replicated trial. So we actually have 20 more of these across our trade territory with MFA, looking at soybeans specifically. So in those plots, we have not only MorSoy varieties, we also have what we call experimental varieties. So those are varieties that are not yet in the marketplace, but we are testing them in either their first or second year before they're deployed as a commercial product. And then we're also testing our partner brands because we are an ag retailer and we sell more than just our MorSoy soybean seed. We also have soybean seed that is Brevant brand, Asgrow brand, and NK brand. So these plots are all across our trade territory. I walk them typically 5 or so times throughout the season and take notes on all the products in our plots. And at the end of the season, we take these replicated trials to yield, and whichever makes the cut, both from an agronomic perspective and from a yield perspective, make the cut into the MorSoy portfolio.
So Cameron, what does the future of soybean yields look like?
Yeah, so when we think about soybean yields today, for the last 30 years, we've seen about a 1% increase in soybean yields across our varieties that we've had. You know, and so while that's nice that we're getting that gain, when we think about just the economic space of where we need to be from a supply of soybeans in the world market, right, we need to be able to find a way to increase that better than just 1%.
Hadlee, how does the speed of innovation of this new technology benefit MFA customers?
Yeah, absolutely. So it definitely speeds up the product life cycle for soybean varieties. So right now, when things come to market, they've technically usually been in the background through a breeding program and through production for about 6 to 7 years is the timeline by the time you see a product actually out on a farmer's field. So for us as a soybean brand, it's going to cut our product life cycle nearly in half when we can bring products to market. So as the seed market is continually changing and innovation is becoming more and more important to farmers, we can respond to trends and the needs of our farmers in our trade territory a lot faster than in previous years where we're testing products typically 1 to 2 years before we're even putting them in a MorSoy bag.
Is there anything else we should know on this MFA training day?
You know, I think it's just important to understand that we try to put these out so that we can bring new innovative ideas that we're bringing to the producers out there. You know, one of our core values that we have at MFA is innovation and technology. And so this is one of the topics that we can talk about that is really pushing one of our core values, innovation and technology, and thinking of how do we start bringing in newer technologies to improve the soybean products and corn products. We didn't talk about corn today, but both of those to our producers so that we can improve their lives as well in the future.
Cameron, Hadlee, thanks for joining us. Once again, we've been chatting with Cameron Horine and Hadlee Swope with MFA. I'm Kara Hart for Brownfield.